Hello and welcome to Circle Time. I hope you had a great weekend. Sue, come out. Our friends are here. Look, it's time to sing and get started. Will you help me? Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. How are you? I'm fine. I'm fine. Hope you are too. I'm fine. I'm fine. Hope you are too. Well, Sue, today we are going to talk about letter C, and C is for cabin. And I don't know about you, but I love to go to a cabin in the winter time and sit around the fire, and it's so cozy to me. C is also for cozy. Well, we're going to make a cozy cabin for our art project today, but right now we need to do something else that starts with C. Calendar time. Okay, so you can sit down. We need to feed Fred and do our calendar time. Hello, Fred. Hi, Fred the fish. Fred is in his fish school. I don't think I can see him. I don't think you can see him, but we'll have to wait. I don't think he's going to swim out right this minute, but we'll keep watching for Fred. In the meantime, let's turn around and do our calendar time. The month is February. Let's reach into our can and see how we will count today. C is for count, and it says that today we are going to make the sound like a snake as we count. So here we go. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Today is February 13th. February 13th. And letter C before E and I makes the sound like a snake. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Right now, we need to go all the way up to the top, and we need to see what day it is. The day starts with an M, and M says, So what day starts with that sound? Monday. It's Monday today. Days of the week. 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 There's Sunday and there's Monday, there's Tuesday and there's Wednesday, there's Thursday and there's Friday, and then there's Saturday. Days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week. Well, it's time to check your weather, so look outside the window and see what your weather is like today. Maybe it's a sunny day, or cloudy, or rainy, or windy, or snowy. When I do like this with my microphone, shout out your weather. What's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather like today? What's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather like today? It is out today. It is out today. Well, let's dress Weather Bear. I think Weather Bear needs, let's see, a shirt and some long pants, a coat, and a hat. And can you remember what the season is? The season is winter. Well, that was our calendar and weather time, and now it's time for our letter of the day. Today's letter is the letter C. This is letter C. The way that we're going to decorate letter C today is like a piece of wood. Cabins are made from wood. often logs. So I just drew some squiggly lines and swirls to look like knot holes and wood. And I even made just some ovals at the ends so that it could look like the rings on the end of the wood. So, and there's little C, and I just colored it brown. So there you have it. That is letter C, and this is an idea for you to use to decorate your letter C today. Or you could just color it brown. Now let's practice writing letter C, and I'll show you how. To make a C, you're just going to curve around. That was easy. Since the uppercase or big C and the lowercase or little c look the same, I'll go ahead and show you. Just curve around a little bit smaller. So this is the big letter C, and this is the little letter C. You can practice if you like, and if you want to use handwriting paper, I'll show you how letter C looks. Okay, so this is the big letter C. Upstairs and downstairs. Big letter C. Curve around. Just curve around upstairs and downstairs. And this is the little c. We're just going to curve around, but this time we'll stay downstairs. Curve around. Curve around. Well, I'd love to see your letter C if you were practicing. And remember, you can skywrite if you want to. Yay, good job. I'm going to give you a sticker for your handwriting time today. Very nice. Well, now that we know what C looks like and we know how to write it, it's time to talk about the sound that C makes. Letter C makes this sound. Can you make that sound too? Letter C makes the sound as in cut. You can pretend that your fingers are scissors. You can pretend to cut. You could even take scissors and paper and just cut some little pieces like this as you make that letter C sound today to practice. The only time that C doesn't make that sound is if it comes before E and if it comes before I. C before E and I makes the sound like a snake, like letter S. Well, it's time for us to go over to the art table. We're going to make a cozy cabin. To make our cabin for art today, I just have some popsicle sticks. If you don't have popsicle sticks, you could use straws and just cut them into pieces, or you could even just use strips of paper or draw your cabin. So I'm just going to put one popsicle stick on top of the other, and I'll glue these down. You can use the little popsicle sticks or these jumbo kind. It's up to you. Next, I'm just going to cut out a rectangle from a piece of brown paper. And I'm going to cut a rectangle and a triangle. A rectangle for the door and a triangle for the roof. And there you have it. There's my little cabin. And you can decorate yours if you want to. Maybe add some snow to the top. You could even add another window. It's time for story time. Our book today is called Henry Builds a Cabin. One spring day, Henry decided to build a cabin. He borrowed an axe and cut down 12 trees. Henry cut the logs into square beams. He notched the bottom beams to fit into corner posts. The corner posts fit into ceiling beams, and the ceiling beams fit into roof beams. In April, his friend Emerson helped raise the beams. The work made him hungry. Henry, he said, your cabin looks too small to eat in. It's bigger than it looks, said Henry. And he led his friend to a bean patch he had planted behind the cabin. When it's finished, this will be my dining room, he said. In May, Henry bought an old shed and took it apart. He nailed the boards on the floor, the roof, and the walls of his cabin. Henry was nailing the last board when his friend Alcott arrived. Henry, he said, your cabin looks too dark to read in. It's brighter than it looks, said Henry. And he led his friend to a sunny spot beside the cabin. When it's finished, this will be my library. In June, Henry put a door in front. Then he put 2 windows in the side walls. He bought old shingles for the roof and walls. Henry was nailing the last shingle when Miss Lydia peeked in the window. Henry, she said, your cabin looks too small to dance in. It's bigger than it looks, said Henry. And he led her to the front of the cabin where a path curved down to the pond. When it's finished, this will be the ballroom with a grand stairway, said Henry. On the 4th of July, Henry moved into his cabin. He ate beans in his dining room. He read in his library. And he danced down the grand stairway to the pond. When it started to rain, Henry ran back to his cabin. It's bigger than it looks, he said. This is just the room I wear when it's raining. The end. But there's some very interesting information at the end I'd like to read to you. It's about Henry's cabin. You see, this story was about Henry David Thoreau. He was a real person in Connecticut, Massachusetts, more than 150 years ago. In the woods beside Walden Pond, he built a cabin. It was 10 feet wide by 15 feet long, just big enough for his bed, a writing desk, a table, and 3 chairs. Henry wanted his cabin to be small so it wouldn't cost much money. He bought used windows and old boards and bricks that cost less than new ones, and he built the cabin himself with the help of his friends, instead of paying someone to build it for him. Altogether, the cabin cost $28.12. Henry moved into his cabin on July the 4th, 1845. Before the snow came, he built a fireplace and chimney and plastered the walls to keep out the cold air. He lived at the pond for 2 years. The people of Concord wondered, why would Henry move to the woods away from town? Henry wanted a quiet place to write a book about what he loved, the wild outdoors. He kept a journal to tell about what he saw in the woods and the pond, how plants and animals changed with the seasons when flowers bloomed and berries ripened, and his life in the woods showed people how to live happily without spending all their time earning money. The book he wrote about this time was called Walden. In it, he says, most men appear never to have considered what a house is, and are actually, though needlessly poor all their lives because they think they must have such a one as their neighbors have. Thought that was very interesting. Maybe it was more for parents than for kids, but I hope you enjoyed it. So let's sing our goodbye song. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. It's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. See you tomorrow.